Okay, thank you all for coming. Let's just take a few seconds to have Yishuv Hadat, to have settle down inside yourself, inside your body. Some of us have traveled far and wide to get here, so there's so much that I want to share, but it's really just more than anything, most important is the experience that's behind what I'm saying, and blessing all of us that we should have real experiences, powerful experiences that are clear, that give us direction in our lives, give us also a sense of total knowing that who the one we call Hashem, the Infinite One, is real. That the movie that he's put us in is filled with all kinds of scenes that are about to come. Some of them very good scenes, some of them more difficult scenes, but there are a lot of scenes left. We know from the Zohar that history will speed up as it comes towards its end. History as we know it will speed up. Events will speed up. Things will happen overnight that used to take years. I think I want to tell them inside not to talk so loud. Oh, that's a phone call. So, like in a certain sense, all of us are in different places in our lives. We're all on journeys, and everybody is in a different place. But collectively, well, that's also important that we know that we're all in the same boat. We're all traveling the same collective journey. And this is a powerful moment in the world where such things are going on, such powerful events are happening, that we have to take stock. Like, what are we doing? What am I doing here? And in my humble opinion, that's what Shavuot is for. Shavuot is not some kind of a thing, well, I want to receive your Torah. Matan Torah. Zaman Matan Torateinu. It's the time of the giving of our Torah. We receive the Torah. So what is this Torah that we're receiving? It's a bunch of stories and laws, or is it something much more, a living Torah, Torah Chaim? Is it something, a relationship? So I suppose in order for it to move from being something that's dry and technical and heavy and a straitjacket of doing this and doing that and maybe what seems like, so some people is giving up my free will. So in order to move from that to total free will, to total infiniteness within my life, total aliveness, there has to be some kind of a transformation that we feel something is real, something is real behind all this. Something which allows me to know that my life is real, that God is in my life, just as much as God was in Adam and Chava's life and in Moshe's and David's and Yosef's. They didn't live and have experiences of Hashem in order to look down at us and say, you could never be like me. They did it so that they could say to us, if we could do it, then you could do it for sure. We are children of Hashem, right? That awareness has to dawn on us that it's like that's who Moshe is. Moshe is not a selfish. The Zohar goes to great lengths to say how unselfish Moshe is. Unbelievable how he cares for every neshama. He comes into the world and exists in this world even at this time. There's a whole Zohar about V'yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko. It's a little bit too much to go into. But the point is that these are real relationships that we have with higher souls. And they're rooting us on. They're giving us tremendous chizuk. Go on, you can do it. It's going to be hard. But the more you know that Hashem is with you, the more powerful your whole life will become. If it was easy, it would be meaningless. It has to be a little bit hard. But the hardness can be softened, it can be sweetened by the fact that you know that you're not alone. So I'm trying to define what receiving the Torah is on Shavuot. It has to be something that's real in my life. There's more of these here for whoever didn't get. Please. I have one myself, and that's it. Okay, everybody else, whoever comes in will share. The reason I pass these around at the beginning, just 4 of my favorite drawings, until further notice, until I get better ones. These are different ways of representing the relationship of the higher worlds to us. This is one of the ones that the Mikubalim use all the time, is they put cups within cups. These cups work. If you put a cup within this cup, it'll only go down to a certain place, and the lip of the cup will stay up, and then up and up and up. So here, but it's important that what doesn't happen with cups is that the middle line, the light that comes down through the middle, goes all the way to the bottom. It's the inner essence of reality. It's mitzumsum, it's in a constricted state. And you can't see it perhaps from the side. It's covered over by garments, by filters. But to know that it's there at the essence, the core of our being, the core of existence, it's everywhere. So important that the higher worlds are all above us, but they're also in. Like the Zohar says, da, le'elamin da, v'da, legomin da. This is each one above, within. So it's a little bit hard to draw that at the same time. And so maybe somebody knows nowadays that they can do it in graphics, but just for simple graphics, so you get circles. Like, and the lowest one is just a lower sphere, and it's down at the bottom, and it's on its own. Here you see that the lower one is within a context of greater and greater circles. Here in this one, that each higher world is a greater context, and that we live within all of them, and that the higher ones are a little bit more hidden from us, but we can vibrate to that vibration. We can receive that level that comes from beyond time, from beyond. So I mean, the Torah really is the receiving the Torah on Shavuot, I said last week, is the receiving the Torah at the end of history. A very powerful idea. You have it here in these pages. I mentioned what we say in Kiddusha of Keter. It's on after page 6. There's 2 unnumbered, not numbered pages. After page 7. In other words, the equivalent of 8 and 9. 8 is Rashi in Hebrew and English, and the page that's right behind it is the text of Keter. And the whole teaching of the Ari of how and of the Zohar, which you have here in the initial pages, of how the Omer leads to Shavuot, and how Leil Shavuot, the night of Shavuot, is so special, and what we do on Leil Shavuot, and what's happening spiritually, and how we can apply that to our own lives. So these pages that I'm giving you are an attempt to tie in and make things, again, real. Real is such an important word by me, to make them amiti, and not just, nice spiritual ideas. And so the high point, really, of Shavuot morning is the Keter of Musaf. We've already prayed. We've already stayed up a whole night, those of us who do it, which is not easy, but if it's done the right way, it's a very powerful experience. and what to do on that night. That's also here a little bit. And then beginning the prayers, you have the men go in the mikvah. If women have a chance to do so in a proper way, fine. But mostly in the world that we live in right now, in the Yerushalmi world that we live in, the mikvahs will be very busy around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. 3:45. I have to look in the calendar of when Amud HaShachar is. So that mikveh is like so amazing. The Zohar explains what we're doing when we're going to the mikveh, what we've done during the entire night, what we're doing when we're in the mikveh. Now we begin to pray Shachrit. We're doing something, and we're going, and we're basically going to the point where we're going under the chuppah of Sinai. We're taking out the Torah at the end of Shachrit, at the end of, after the Amidah, and after the Chazarah, and after the Hallel, taking out the Torah. By that time, if you stayed up all night, be very careful not to fall asleep. There has to be people around who will massage everybody and be nice and be cool and wake everybody, because it's so easy to go to sleep in the middle of davening. Even if you're standing in the Amidah, you can start to feel yourself falling. You have to be able to catch yourself. Right? Anybody have that experience? Falling in the middle of standing. Woo! And then, so sitting for the Torah reading is not easy, even though it's Mount Sinai and this is a powerful experience. But after all, it's like you're sitting down and you finally, it's like, oh, so easy just to close your eyes. You have to really, truly, really make an effort. Because why? Why? Because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Ari, the two big ones, said, if you do this, you're really doing something important. You're fighting sleep. I'll show you how they say it. And then it's even more difficult to stay awake during the Haftarah. Who knows what the Haftarah is? Yecheskel, the vision of Ezekiel. The vision is called the vision of the chariot. It's like, whoa, this is like high-powered stuff. And yet, it's so easy to fall asleep, even for the most seasoned person who's doing this for years. You have to really want it. And of course, if you don't, it's cool. This is something that if a person wants to do it and wants to feel how it works, the door is open, but nobody's forcing anybody. Chas v'shalom. And then after the Haftarah, then we say Kaddish and we say the Musaf, and then in the repetition of the Musaf, we say Keter. And in Keter,
when is that? Is that on the first day of Shavuot?
Here there's only one day, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even in Chutz La'aretz, the only time that we stay up is on the first night.
So that's Tikkun Shavuot.
Tikkun Leil Shavuot, right?
Yeah.
That's what these pages are all about. And the most important moment of the Musaf is the Kedusha, which is called Keter. And in Keter, when we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and the kavanah, the intention, the feeling that we put into that, the time we put into it, that we built up for 49 days, and this is the 50th day, and now it's called that we've built the entire structure. Let's say we've built a structure of 1,000 pieces, where each sphira has 100 pieces, and there are 10 sphirot. But one thing was missing. There was only 900. And the keters, all of the crowns, have to come in. And when the crown comes in, then it lights up the entire structure. And everything you've done for 49 days completely comes to completion. And it's symbolic. It means that the gift that comes at the end, which completely transforms everything we've ever done for our whole lives, for all of history. So it's a symbolic thing. It's right here, miniature, right here, right now. But it's not just going to happen just now. And it's just not going to happen just within the Mizgeret, the framework of Shavuot. It's a symbolic action that's happening all the time, but we have to do it, right? So you do this whole thing where you work yourself towards something, and you build your vessels, and then you're asking for the light that came down on Pesach to come down again. but this time allow us it permeates in our entire existence, our consciousness. So again, on the messianic level, it's like unbelievable. So that's what we say at the end of the Keter. We say, this is a repeat from last week, which I didn't have it in front of me. It's here in big. I separated the Keter into three Hebrew things, so that the big letters here and the third one, right in the middle of the page. So again, really just put that inside. It's not everywhere. It's not being said everywhere. I'm going to show you how Rashi says it also. But these only the two places that we have it stated explicitly. That Sinai will happen again. Again, how did I say that it'll happen? In my understanding, it'll happen in the eyes of all mankind, of all living beings, as opposed to what had happened back then as a limited thing within the Sinai desert. And in English, it's in the presence of all that is alive. Okay, so Rashi is so beautiful also. Please turn the one just before that. Oh, that he would kiss me again with the kisses of his mouth. Meaning, that he would reveal the secrets of his Torah to me as he began to do at Sinai. So according to Rashi in this deep reading of Song of Songs, Hashem just started to reveal his Torah to us at Sinai. We're now asking that he complete it. And that completion will involve revealing things of the Torah that were there all the time, but were not. But now's the time to reveal them. So Israel, the soul, the Shekhinah whispers this song, this yearning, this pining. This is a quote from Rashi. With her mouth, in her exile, in her widowhood. Oh, how I wish that King Shlomo, the Holy One himself, would kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, like he once did. For there are places in the world where they kiss the back of the hand or the shoulder, but because he lived in France. But I desire and yearn for one thing only, that he act with me as he did that first time when we first met, and kiss me like a groom kisses his bride, mouth to mouth. Rashi, amazing, right? So this is a man and a wife talking. Your love, your affection is far more precious to me than wine. Your spiritual love is more precious to me than any wine feast, any physical delight or joyous occasion. It is customary in Lashon HaKodesh to designate a joyous occasion as a wine feast, like in Megillat Esther. The last paragraph. Shlomo, the master author of Shir Shirim, uses this example. This is a quote from Rashi. Uses this example, this image of a groom and bride kissing, to describe how Hashem gave us his Torah at Sinai and spoke to us face to face. Even now, those same demonstrations of love, those same prophetic revelations that are revealed to them when he opened the heavens, which caused their souls to leave their bodies and soar heavenward, I added, those same demonstrations of love and affection are still sweeter to them than any other delight. That dveikut, that inner bonding with Ein Sof that the human soul desires more than anything else, but substitutes things instead, right? And so Rashi is telling us here that Shavuot is a reminder of what we really want when we desire something. They are therefore assured by him. Here's how he says this. They are therefore assured by him. Muftachim me'ito. They are promised by him. It's interesting, right? Muftachim. Assured. I.e., he has therefore made an unbreakable promise to them to reveal himself to them again, but this time to illuminate for them Sod Ta'ameha, the unfathomableness of the Torah's innermost secrets. Sod is secrets, and Ta'ameha is its reasons. But I felt that it would be like travesty to translate it just the secret of its reasons. And Mistar Tzfonoteha, So he's using 4 words that all mean mystery here. Mistar tzfonoteha, the enigma of its most hidden mysteries. So this time, the Torah that he gives us will be the Torah without its outer garment. Turning to him and beseeching him to fulfill his promise. This is what we mean when we say, Yishakeni min nishikot pihu. Oh, that he would kiss me. So you have this, Rashi, put it up on a wall, put it in your heart. It's a love story. Judaism, Torah talks about a goal of history, right? Whether we call it the Great Shabbat or the final Shavuot. It doesn't matter what name, it has all the different names. There's no one name. Rabbi Nachman says that Hashem, where did he borrow the light from that he used to bring us out of Mitzrayim on Pesach? And he doesn't say this, but where did he borrow the light from that he used to reveal the Torah to us on Sinai? And where did he borrow the light from to make the miracle of Pesach and the miracles of Chanukah? He borrowed the light from the future. That's another little favorite diagram. So it says here, creation of the world. First Pesach and first Shavuot. I think it says Purim and Hanukkah here. And here is Pesach and Shavuot this year. And this is the redemption and eternity. So it's a timeline that goes this way. So if this is where we are, so we say usually that we're getting the power of this day, of this year, from the original Shavuot. Rabbi Nachman says, where did this original Shavuot get its power? From the future. And where does the light of the future come from? It comes from the original light that's shown in the very beginning. So what does for me is it allows me to go into bigger and bigger circles and then come back into now, into today, into this year with much more power, because I know that I'm part of something that's very big. And it's not just another year and another, right? We know there's a messianic sense of history. I think we've been here before. I think we've been, some of us more, some less. We've been messianics. We believed in Mashiach. Maybe we've gone too far, whatever. I hold that we should be mature messianists, right? Don't go crazy. Don't start calling out from the windows that Mashiach is coming. Live your life in a deeper way. Connect with the real Mashiach light. We are chelek. We are a portion of the light of Mashiach. When people say, where's Mashiach? You don't have to say that it's up ahead in the future. It's actually manifesting right now, but it's manifesting on the inner levels of our souls. So the natural thing is, whoa, let me do what I can do to connect to them. The next thing I want to do is go to page 1. And anybody who wants to ask, say, please, feel open. No, I was on the way here, and on the way here, something happened. And 6 of them got taken from me. And I was like, not sure that would be the right thing. Anyway, I promised to send them to you. So what we have here on page 1 is my favorite line from Lecha Dodi, and my explanation of it that I've worked on for years, and it's still being worked on, and it's still being developed, and it's a very precious idea, and I want to gift it to you. Underneath that is Shara Kavanot of Reb Chaim Vital in the name of his his master, the Ari. I didn't include the Hebrew text because I wanted to save pages, but I have that also. It's always good to be able to check your stuff when you're reading the English of what does it say in the Hebrew. So that's page 1 and 2. On page 3 is Zohar Emor, a wonderful piece of Zohar about what it means to stay up all night on Shavuot and what it's about and what's going on. So that's 3. And 4 is a song. A song called Sherikov that Hasidim and I guess most Ashkenazim sing, and they have kids sing it. It's so special. It's such a lovely and beautiful and deep song, and most people don't know, I would say, how deep it is. So I translated it in a way which it goes along with a few of the things that are in the Zohar and in the Ari, and I actually even would like to sing it now with you. The regular traditional tune. Page 4. Anim zmirot, bishirim erod, ki alecha nafshi tarod, nafshi chamda b'tzel yadecha, l'dad kol raz sodecha, mididabri b'chvodcha, homeli b'yedodecha, לכן אדבר בך נכבדות בשמך ובשיר ידידות. This is really deep now. אספרה כבודך ולא ראיתיך, אדמך אכנך ולא ידעתיך, ביד נביאך בסוד עבדיך דימית הדה כבודותיך. גודלך וגבורתך כינו לתוקף פעולתך דמעותיך ולא כפי ישך וישבוך לפי מעשיך. I'm getting Kabbalistic. I will tell of your glory though I've never seen you. I will speak in metaphor and call you by your names, though I cannot know who you as you are. Through your holy prophets, the secret assembly of your servants, you revealed a reflection of the radiance of your hidden light. That's 3 steps removed. The reflection of the radiance of your hidden light. They likened your loving greatness and your power of restraint to the same qualities in your most powerful creations. They visualized you, but not as you really are. They describe you solely in terms of your actions. Himshilucha berov chesionot hincha echad b'chol dimyonot v'yechezu b'cha zikna ubachrut us'ar roshcha b'seva b'shachrut zikna b'yom din ubachrut b'yom krav ki ish melchamot yadav lo rav havash kova yeshua b'rosho oshia lo yamino zro al kodsho. They depicted you in diverse visions. This is like central to everything we're going to learn, some of what we're going to learn tonight. Despite all seemingly contradictory comparisons, however, you forever remain one. Right? Behind any possible vision or comparison that we might have with anything that we know and of in our world, so God is not bound by any of that. We just are allowed to use prophetic images to give us some idea. In fact, remember what you wrote me. So in fact, I have this thing that we have mommies and daddies and grandfathers and grandmothers. That's why did he create us like that? That we have families, so that we should know that he is our mommy and our daddy. He is our grandma and our grandpa. In Kabbalah, as we're going to see, as we'll see, if I won't talk about it, but it's here in these pages. In Kabbalah, grandfather and grandmother are such a high level of Hashem's interaction with us. So the perfect example, or one like simple example, is grandpa and grandma come to house, and they have like toys and candy, and mommy and daddy say, "Grandpa, I have to take them to the dentist." And grandpa and grandma's answer is, "I don't have to do that anymore. I can just give them, and it doesn't matter what they do." So Hashem is our grandpa, grandma on that level. Hashem loves us so much. It wouldn't be beneficial for us if he would treat us like that all the time. There would be no consequences of actions. So in a sense, it turns around this whole thing that why God, why are you so hard on me, is wow, now I begin to understand why you act towards me as a parent and you hide your grandparent level. Atika Kadisha, Arich Anpin, the great, long, infinitely patient one, whereas you deal with us as Zer Anpin. And we'll look into the terms. I just have to develop them organically and just talk about them and mention them, and then we'll see, God willing, what they mean. But Zer Anpin is what's mentioned here in this poem as they envisioned you as an ancient sage, that's Atik Yomin or Atika Kadisha, and as a youth, as a young man, with the hair of your aged head at times white as snow, the old man on Sinai, and at others black as that of a raven, the young man at the crossing of the Red Sea. Ish Milchama. The vision of the ancient sage represents your mercy when you sit in judgment, whereas when you execute justice against those who are found guilty, you're likened to a youth. I didn't close the brackets. It's probably after guilty. You are likened to a youth, a young warrior whose hands conduct a war. He can thus appear as a warrior wearing a crown of salvation on his head. He is said to bring victory and redemption to his people with his loving right hand and his holy outstretched arm. One more. When his people are in exile, his head is said to be filled with the dews of supernal lights, and the locks of his hair are saturated with drops of the night. He endures exile with us. He's out at the night, and he's outside during the night, so his head becomes filled with dew. That's from Shir Shirim. Then you have the Zohar, and then you have this song. It's all talked about in a very consistent way. As my father, he takes pride in me, for he is pleased with me. He will always be a crown of splendor for me. As my king, the crown on his head is one of the purest gold. On his forehead is engraved the glory of his holy name. Okay. So this thing of an old man and a young man, and both of them being prophetic images, is what takes us back to the things that are coming before. Basically, give it to you in a kind of an oral way first, and like let's just put Shavuot in perspective. Kabbalistic language cannot be taken at face value, but it's like a system of how to speak about spiritual energies. But what we want to try and do is to internalize it and to know that there's different aspects of our own being that can open up at deeper and deeper levels. In a sense, the Zohar says in one place, Mima'amakim kiraticha Adonai, I call to you from the depths, Hashem. So the Zohar says, not only is it do I call to you from the depths of my heart, if I do, and to the extent that I call you from my depths, I call you out from your depths. The deeper I can go in myself, the more deeply my relationship with you can mature into much, much more than just your God, and if I do anything wrong, then you're going to smack me. So again, the deeper I can go in myself, the deeper of a relationship I can have with Hashem. And I don't have external images anymore to deal with. I have internal realities. That's a hard one, but I think it's kind of important. So the language of Kabbalah is you have Sfirot, and what we'll be learning after Shavuot, God willing, in chapter 10 and 11 of Inner Space. The Shvirat HaKilim, the shattering of the vessels in chapter 10, and chapter 11 is called Partzufim. So it's like, it's so major, and he was the only one who put it in such a way that it could be even begun to be understood. So Rabbi Kaplan's, inner space, which this class is about, chapter 10 and 11 is like, it's like, it has to be read. And then when we talk about it, we don't have to read every word. We can talk intelligently about ideas, about what's going on here. Why was the universe created the way it was? Why is it run the way it is? What's the purpose towards which those are the questions that Kaplan, as like Rabbi the Ramchal and the Ari and the Baal Shem Tov, those are the questions that they dealt with. So we have to get on the same page with them, and we have to ask those questions. So to get cut to the chase, the heart center is very often called in Kabbalah Zeir Anpin, which can be translated what? Small or diminished face or presence. Small, constricted, diminished, Zeir, young, immature. Interesting. Wow. What a name for God, Zeir Anpin. And Arich Anpin, so Zeir Anpin corresponds to Tiferet, to the heart center. I'll explain why. And Keter is called Arich Anpin, which is long face as opposed to short face, or Atika Kadisha, the ancient holy one. Anybody never heard these words? Yay. Okay. Questions so far? Just throw them out. What are we talking about? Arich Anpin is expanded. Arich is long, simply long. Erech Apayim in Hebrew. Erech Apayim, long patience. No, it's a subsystem within Arich Anpin. They're not different beings or they're different modalities within one greater modality. Always the higher up you go, the larger the circle. The higher up you go, the larger the circles here also, right? Larger circles mean more mercy, more love, unconditional love.
So expanded is okay.
Fine, great. And the lower one, the smaller circles, is more constricted in order to interact with us in a way that's meaningful, that we will now be, it's called din, or judgment, which is also midah keneged midah, measure for measure. Or I like to call it the school of accountability. So it's not accounting school. It's not going to school in order to learn how to do people's CPA, but it's accountable, to be accountable, a world where there's consequences to actions, where there's boundaries, and where what I do has significance and ramifications. Whoa, this is the school that he sent us to prepare us for the greater universe of our Arich Anpin level relationship. He had to send us to a school of Zeir Anpin, where what we do has consequences, so that we'll learn consequences, we'll learn accountability, responsibility, so that when the full love opens up, we won't misuse it. That's how I see it. It's in my little way. That's how I make sense of it. Hashem is a parent who wants us to grow into complete mastery and godliness. But one of the lessons of that is you got to know that when you do something, there's going to be reverberations. And if we don't know that, if people are going around killing each other and stealing from each other and cutting people's heads off and thinking that they're the ones who can determine and arbitrate what's the truth, and they're the ones who carry the truth, and they're like totally off. Hashem, the day will come. May it come soon. On Rosh Hashanah we pray, in the Sephardi Nusach we pray 4 ubechens. Please bear with me. I don't mean to make this like all over the place. For me, this is very unified, and I'm hoping it is anyway for you. But we say 4 uvechens in our prayers on Rosh Hashanah. Uvechen Yitkadesh Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu Al Yisrael Amecha is the first one. It corresponds to Avraham Avinu. Hashem, may your name be sanctified over your people. And then Al Yisrael Amecha also means Al Yedei Yisrael Amecha, through your people. Let us be Avraham Avinu's and Sarah Imenu's. Let us sanctify your name. Give us a chance to make a difference. And then there's the second one, is Yitzhak. Uvechen ten pachtecha Adonai Eloheinu al kol ma'asecha ve'ematcha al kol ma shebarata v'yiraucha kol ha'ma'asim v'yishtachavu lecha kol ha'bru'im. Hashem, mamish, shake them up, scare the hell out of them, break their egos, break the ego. Yitzhak. The Ashkenazim actually start with that when they leave at Avraham. I'm very, very upset with that, but I understand it's a Yom Adin. Nusach Ashkenaz leaves at Avraham. How can you do that? Give us a chance. Give us a chance. Make a difference. But, the third one is Yaakov. The fourth one is David. These are, behind all these prayers are such deep, beautiful systems. So Zeir Anpin is called a mode. The word midah in Hebrew comes into English. I mean, you can even write. This is like amazing for me. Mode, medium, modality, modulation, modify. All the MD words are very connected to the word midah, measure, in Hebrew. They're not the light itself. They are modulations of the light. Hashem interacts with us through a quality of chesed or through a quality of din. We visualize you in various different ways. Despite all contradictions, you are one behind all of them, right? Behind the chesed, behind the din, behind whatever Zeir Anpin means. It's the infinite one behind, but we have to become somehow more conscious, more aware, in order to interact with those higher levels of who God really is, instead of creating God in our own image. So, and the next point, and I'll stop after this, and we'll see if we want to read or whatever. So the Zohar's explanation of the Omer period from Pesach till Shavuot is in terms of a maturation process, from Zeir Anpin to Arich Anpin. And it speaks about it in terms of as if it's about something up there. And perhaps it is. But it has to, as I said before, but if it happens in me, that's the most important thing. And then that stuff, which is always there anyway, will open up. Again, the larger circles in here, the larger circles are here. My job is to live at the level of Arich Anpin, even within a world that's limited. How do I do that, right? So there's an inner work to do. There's an inner connecting link that connects me to the higher sources of my own being within myself. And you could, many metaphors, and I'm not going to obviously try and do it all now, but that movement from the outer levels of my being to the inner levels will open me up and connect me to those higher levels that I want to connect to with God. Again, you might ask, yeah, well, why did he make it like that? Or how do I do that? Or all kinds of questions. But that's the motion, whatever the answers are. The motion is I need to go in and to connect with a deeper level of my own being. And there are definitely ways to do that, and we'll try and help along. In other times when we're not dealing with such an intense level of trying to talk about what Shavuot is. I think tonight is our second to last, and next week is, right, tonight is today was the 38th day. So that means that next week will be 45. And so that's the last class before Shavuot. So this is the second to last, and then there's Shavuot, and then there's one more class next week. But it's so hard for me not to try and give over the essence, and I need your help to, if you're interested, read this stuff. Ask what you need to ask for you to be able to get it. I'll go on with the Zeranpin in a second, but if anybody has any general questions.
So isn't that like a high-level sphere? I'm a little...
Everything is relative.
Okay.
So Tiferet relative to Malchut or to Yesod, of course, it's a very important heart center. But compared to Chochmah, Bina, and Keter, right? So it's very confusing at first. That relative to Malchut, Tiferet is complete mercy. But relative to that which is above it, it's all of a sudden becomes a mixture of mercy and judgment.
Okay.
And so why does it have to be like that? Relative to what are we speaking about?
I'm just confused about the different ones.
Okay, now I'll clarify that a little bit more. And one interesting scene in the Torah of a Zeir Anpin scene where Yoshua is fighting Amalek. So we know the gematria of Amalek is El Acher and Safek, doubt, and other gods. So Yoshua, who's the heart center, has to fight against on the battlefield of life. But he has Moshe Rabbeinu up on the mountain with his hands up. And the rabbis say, there's different sources for this, is that the hands are Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, the hands and the head. Moshe Rabbeinu is the reference point, Yeshua up to here. This is Moshe now. Moshe is Arich Anpin relative to Yoshua. Moshe Rabbeinu also has to be able to hold his hands up. He needs Hur and Aaron to help him to connect to Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. We all need reference points above and beyond, whatever we get to. So Zeir Anpin, and it's really in the Ari itself, when this 6,000 years, it comes to its conclusion, we come to the 7th millennium, Zeir Anpin will become Arich Anpin. But then relative to the next level of super history, of meta history that's beyond the 7th millennium, he becomes Zeir Anpin again, relative to that which is beyond. It's a never-ending growth process towards infiniteness. You always get to infinite. It's not that God always holds a carrot and never lets you get there. You get there, but then it's like going into college. You were the president of the high school class. Like when you walk down the halls, people knew you. And now you get into college. It's a much bigger campus. Nobody knows you. You don't have any importance at all. It's a very disorienting thing, right? You're in a whole new world. So that's Zeir Anpin now, even though you were at Arich Anpin in the last previous level. That makes sense to anybody, if you went to high school and all that. Okay. But really, again, one more point, and that the Torah is the first thing on page 1 with Lecha Dodi is that what is this Torah that we're receiving? So this is what I want to share with you now. And then a little bit more Zeir Anpin stuff. And again, stop me at any moment in order to get clarity. You deserve clarity. Lecha Dodi. Hitnari me'afar kumi. This is from Yeshayahu. Hitnari me'afar kumi. Libshi bigde tifartech ami. Al yad ben Yishai betalachni. Korva el nafshi ge'ala. So the key phrase is Libshi bigde tifartech ami. if we're talking to Ami, if I'm talking to my people, then I'm telling them to dress up in their splendorous garments, their illustrious garments. But the question is, am I talking to my people? Maybe I'm not. According to the context of the whole thing, I'm talking to Yerushalayim, and as we'll see in a second, Yerushalayim, the panemius of Yerushalayim is the Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of God in the world. That's what Yerushalayim here represents. I'm talking to the Shekhinah, and I'm saying, shake the dust off, rise up, clothe yourself with your illustrious garments, my people. How can we see that? How can we understand that? That when people come into a city, they become the garments of that city. Is that too strange? We are dressing up Yerushalayim by being here now. We're walking the streets of Yerushalayim. She is just shining through us. You can imagine who would be here, or other people would be here, or what happens when other peoples have been here and the land becomes desolate, and that whole thing. So it says in Yeshayahu, I don't have the Hebrew, but awake, arouse yourself. Libshi uzech Tzion, don your strength, O Zion. Libshi bigdei tefatech Yerushalayim. Clothe yourself in your illustrious garments, O Yerushalayim, O holy city. Now, it doesn't say who the clothing is, who we want Yerushalayim to dress up in, but it does say who we don't want Yerushalayim to dress up in. For the uncircumcised and the impure will no longer enter you. It could have said it in a nice positive way. For your people will come back and they'll enter you. And that will be the equivalent of dressing up in your garments. It doesn't say that. It only says the negative for some reason. But the idea that the inhabitants of a city are the clothing of that city is so strange, but enticing for them. So the pasuk goes on, shake the dust off yourself, rise up, become resettled, O Jerusalem, untie the bands around your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Our stanza in Lecha Dodi reads literally, dress up in your illustrious garments, who are none other than my people. We're not addressing Ami and enjoining them to dress up in splendid garments. We're rather speaking here to the city of Yerushalayim and to the soul of Yerushalayim, the indwelling presence of God, the Shekhinah, and enjoining her to don her illustrious garments, which are none other than the children of Israel, who will begin to gather in Yerushalayim in preparation for the final redemption. So who are the garments of Yerushalayim and the Shekhinah? Ami, my people. So 3 more parts to this idea, and then we're going to do a meditation on it, because of the main point behind it for me is a life-changing point, and I hope it comes through. See the Zohar, see Priyat Chaim, where this is also one of the primary metaphors behind Shavuot, the holiday on which we renew our acceptance of the Torah every year. On Shavuot night, we read Tikkun Leil Shavuot, a Kabbalistic compendium of verses from the entire Tanakh. We read the first 3 or 4 and the last 3 or 4 verses of each Sidra, and then of each book of the Tanakh. In all, there are Kad Sifrei Tanakh, 24 books of the Bible, which are also called Kad Kishutei Kala, the 24 jewels or ornaments of the bride. Who is the bride? The Shekhinah. With these verses that we say on Leil Shavuot, in the Tikkun Leil Shavuot, we, the bridesmaids, dress the Shekhinah in order to enter with her under the marriage canopy at Sinai. Just think about it for a second. Shekhinah, there's Tiferet, which is Zeir Anpin, and Zeir Anpin's getting married with Shekhinah, and they're going to stand under the chuppah, and then they become grandpa and grandma right away. Transformation. and that's Sinai, and that's why God appeared to us at Sinai as an Atik Yamin, as an Ancient of Days, with a white beard and long white everything. And if you're bothered by that, I mean, there's a whole thing that people say God doesn't have a long white beard, and I say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. An image of an ancient mother and father, grandfather and grandmother is not something to take lightly. It's such a beautiful archetype of the male and female archetype. It's wisdom incarnated, right? It's Chochmah and Bina, and it's even more. So as prophetic image, once we know that we don't get stuck with image, we don't get stuck with metaphor, but we use metaphor to get closer to approximate something of what we're dealing with here. That makes sense? Use your imagination to grow into higher and higher levels of imagination. This is part of what Shari Kedusha is about, and the whole system of the Ari and of Abu Lafia. It's a very ancient thing by us, is to use prophetic images to enter into deeper states and then to go with them. So the idea of Hashem, of the Shekhinah being an aspect of Hashem that marries another aspect of Hashem, and that we are the children who bring them together. The Zohar will say that we actually go into the mikvah with the Shekhinah, and it's like you have to have a clean mind, because obviously men going into a mikvah with a bride, it's like what are you doing? What are you talking about? What kind of religion is this? But with a clean mind, nothing occurs to you of that nature. You're doing something important. You're doing it with solemnity and with joy, and it's part of something that the Jewish people do that's called Kabbalistic, and Kabbalistic is never made fun of by anybody who knows anything. Kabbalah is not for everybody, but a lot of the things that we do, al-pi Kabbalah, are for anybody who wants to join. And if you didn't join, you're still part of the Jewish people, and it's fine. But Kabbalah is a certain type of sensitivity that actually basically takes a more feminine development within a male in order to be able to learn Kabbalah in the right way, to develop the feminine side. But whatever, we all have both. And here in terms of, as I said, the Zohar saying the going into the mikvah and then dressing her with the verses that we were learning prior to going to the mikvah, and going under the chuppah with her, and all these symbolic things are part of an everyday thing that we do in Shachrit, an every week thing that we do at Shabbat, and an every year thing that we do on Shavuot. And it's really symbolic of what all of history is leading to, is the marriage of Zer Anpin and Shekhinah. As it says in Lecha Dodi, the beginning it says, Shamo v'zachor b'dibur echad. It says, Lecha Dodi, come beloved, which is God from above, the male. Likrat Kala, to meet the bride coming up from the underworld, where the Shekhinah goes down into our lives, into history, into incognito, into Egypt, into Babylon, right? And we're saying now, come to meet her. She comes up, and we're the children who are bringing Hashem Echad, Ushmo Echad, the revelation from Shamayim and the revelation from below together, and saying, oh my goodness, it really was only an apparent duality. Heaven and earth are really one and have always been one and will never be anything but one. But it had to seem like it was separate. But Shabbat is when it becomes revealed retroactively that it was always only one. And Shemo v'zacho b'dibur echad hishmianu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'letefero u'letehila. So the Shabbat on the weekly level is the coming together, and of course the great Shabbat or the great Shavuot or the great Sukkot is always going to be the symbolism of the male and the female coming together as one and being revealed that it never was anything but one. That's the drama that Hashem put us in. And when we tuned into, while the drama was going on, when we tuned into the oneness, behind the apparent duality, we started becoming more conscious, more aware. We started awakening to the higher dimensions of our own existence. And so the prophets are telling us that Babylon and Mesopotamia and Egypt and America and France and all of these are a dream existence, a matrix, a false mentality or mindset that human beings made up. Yishmael and his thing, Asavian civilization, Western civilization, Greco-Roman. The prophetic view is from above, that we're all souls, that we all came down here to be part of a drama, but not to get caught in the drama. So the Jewish people, with assimilation, is when we lose, when that's not taught, and it's only taught be a Jew, and this is what you have to be, and you're better than everybody else, nobody wants to listen to that anymore. So they have to have a deeper relationship revealed to us that's real, the real reason to remain Jewish, so that the whole world can be lifted up through us, not as an ego trip, but because that's part of who our souls are. Mechila, that I'm driving you crazy with all these ideas. But it really does one lead to the other, so forgive me. So I'll go back inside. Yeah.
It's not part of Am Yisrael. It's a certain presence that is Hashem in this world. I'm trying to understand the difference between how you have.
Sometimes the Shekhinah is called Emma Banim, the mother of the children, the mother of the souls of Israel. On Friday night, she's described as Hakat Buchin Gedishin, the field of the orchard of holy apples. So what a strange thing is that the Shekhinah is likened to a field, an orchard with many trees on it, and each tree has thousands of apples. Because that's a metaphor of a metaphor. It's a metaphor that the Shekhinah contains all of our souls, as an orchard contains all the trees with all the apples in it. And Chakal is 138, which is Havaya Ehyeh Havaya Adanut. It's a special Shem Kadosh. And all of those lights shining into Malchut is when she becomes completely filled, when our souls go up into Malchut. Right, at night, I give my soul up into Malchut. In the morning, I receive my soul back renewed. It went up into Malchut. She became pregnant again, and then she gave birth, and we're born again every morning. It's just endless symbolism of transformation that is available to us. But she is definitely the mother of the souls of Israel. We are Banim Ladonai Elohechem. We are the children of Hashem, your God, of Zer Anpin and Malchut, of Abba and Ima, Chochma and Bina. We are the children of Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. As souls, we're all children of that. But we become more deeply entrenched in physicality and in losing our identity as we come into physicality. There's nothing wrong intrinsically with physicality, but it does require that we go. It's an amnesia. It's a forgetfulness. It's a nishiyah in Hebrew, an oblivion. So our job through the Torah is to awaken true spirituality, and our closest relationship is with Ima. Hashem is our Ima, somebody who's imo anuchi b'tzara. I am with him in his pain, not somebody who punishes us, but somebody who suffers with us and who's completely with us in our process. That's not a straight answer to anyone.
But then the idea of tzar shchina. So then what?
Yeah.
So what?
There's levels. What are you asking?
I'm just trying to understand how that relates to the tzar shchina, the pain of this manifestation of Hashem in the world, because we understand that it's Hashem experiencing a certain type of pain, suffering caused by us, or us not being like Tafkid the way we're supposed to. Just trying to understand how that relates to
Yeah, no, these are good questions. Shechina v'galuta, the Shechina in exile. There's different levels. Sometimes when we say Shechina, we mean a specific aspect of Hashem's light. Sometimes we even, the indwelling presence of Ein Sof in the world is called Shechina. There's no pain at that level. There's the pain that he wants to bring the universe to a higher level, and therefore we're told by the Baal Shem Tov, if you do anything, do it for the Shechina. If you learn anything, if you have a kavanah for anything, do it for the Shekhinah, don't do it for yourself, because the Shekhinah is the sum total and more of all of our pain and all of our joy and everything. It's all taking place within Shekhinah. The word Shekhinah is an amazing word. There's no one definition of it. My friends and I came up with something recently where we said it's the screen of the computer. Now, the computer speaks in a certain language in terms of zeros and ones. But the only place you can look and see the screen with, and especially now with modern screens, you can see things that are meaningful to you in a way that they speak to you. It's translating a spiritual language of computer language into something that you can relate to. It's different than all the other levels that precede it. It's very interesting to think of the world that we live in, the way we perceive, the way our minds are made is a malchut, and above that is many, many levels, but we can't understand them. So this is where the Shnei Luchot Abrit takes us. This is where the Tikkunei Zohar, these are like heavy things that, I'm just in kindergarten with. I'm trying to learn them for 40 years, and I'm not a big brain, so I'm really a heart person. And I try my best to be an integrator, to show that even if I don't understand the whole thing, but the basics, I think it's important that we get clear. It's the light of the Ein Sof manifesting through different modalities, and it's for us to perceive as much as we can the oneness behind. And how the Hashem is our mother and our father and our grandmother and our grandfather. And that's like an incredible breakthrough. And many other breakthroughs, B'ezrat Hashem, that we should all have. Let me just finish this. At first sight, this doesn't seem to have any connection with the above. The fact that there's 24 books of the Bible, and that they're called the garments of the Shekhinah, the ornaments of the Shekhinah. Okay, very nice. And that the Shekhinah gets married under the canopy of Sinai. But above we said that the Shekhinah dresses up in Am Yisrael. And here we say that the Shekhinah dresses up in the 24 books of the Tanakh. Again, the expression kad is chavdal, it is 24. Kad sifrei Tanakh equals kad kishute kala. The ornaments of the bride. How is the Tanakh the ornaments of the Shekhinah? So this is what I say now. When we ask one simple question, however, the connection becomes obvious. What are the 24 books of the Tanakh about? When we boil it down to its bare essentials, these books are all about Hashem, how Hashem is involved in history, which I like to say is his story. His involvement in the lives of human beings. Bare bones. What is the Tanakh about? The involvement of the Ein Sof in the lives, or the Shekhinah, whatever name we use, in the lives of human beings. In other words, calling the 24 books of the Tanakh the ornaments of the bride, where the stories of the lives of special human beings are seen as the ornaments of the Shekhinah, is the same as saying that Hashem dresses up in and reveals himself in his ultimate plan for mankind through the prism of the lives of special human beings. Again, one way emphasizes the one dressing up, and the other way emphasizes the the garments that are being dressed up in. I dress up in my clothes dress up on me. So in Lecha Dodi it says Hashem in Yerushalayim, the Shekhinah, dress up in your clothes, my people. So the idea then, the breakthrough idea for me is, oh my goodness, God is in my life. I'm a levush. I'm a garment of godliness. We're not talking about Yerushalayim anymore. We're talking about that the Shekhinah dresses up in the lives of human beings. So I say one final point: do not mistakenly conclude that Hashem used to dress up in the lives of human beings, but no longer does. Rather, it's through the stories of human beings whose lives are recorded in the Tanakh that we learn that Hashem, the Ein Sof, dresses up in our lives as well. We learn about Hashem himself through the lives of the characters of his story. This in turn means that Adam and Chava and Noach and Abraham and Sarah, they became cosmic because it is through them that we learn about the infinite. They became cosmic actors. Hashem used them to teach us about himself, which we cannot know. So therefore he uses his characters. He dresses up in his characters. He's the author who dresses up in his characters. And it's through the characters that we say, oh, wow, it's amazing. I just saw God. I met Abraham and Sarah. I met Chanach. I met this. I met this. I met you. I met you. I'm seeing God. It has to come to that. That's what the reading of the Torah on Shavuot is. I have to look at you and you have to look at me. We have to look at each other. Oh my goodness. He's hid this from us right in front of our faces, that we are faces of God. And to use that to really believe the incredible infiniteness that's pulsing through our being. And just like to connect to that and the power of that. And receiving the Torah on Sinai, on Shavuot, the Mashiach Torah, is the Male'ah ha'aretz dea et Adonai k'mayim liyam echasim, that the whole earth plane will be filled with the consciousness of Hashem, of Yud Ke Vav Ke, as the waters fill the sea. So we're like trying to channel that down now, and every year we get another powerful input of that infinite Torah that Hashem has to give us. So somehow write this out yourselves, make sense of it, take it apart, put it back together, the implications of it. You know? Where are we in time? So this Zeir Anpin thing, just a little bit on it, okay? And I'm going to start you off on it, and Shara Kavanot in the Ari, and try and take the ball. During the 7 weeks of Sfirat Omer, page 1, bottom of the page, Zeir Anpin grows to full maturity, because Zeir means small, immature, up to the level of Gadlut Sheni, up to a very high level, which is the level of supernal Abba, Chochma, and supernal Ima, Bina. So Tiferet grows up to Chochma and Bina. It's just that physically when we grow, our feet stay on the ground and we grow. It's different in the Ari's teachings than a mommy picking her baby up to her breast, or a daddy picking the baby up high, very often holding the baby with one hand, which bothers mommy very much. This is called aliyah l'sha'ah, momentary ascent. And then we have to put the baby back down. What it means for us spiritually is that Hashem sometimes gives us, he just lifts us up high. But then we have to be put back down. And then the point is to grow, to be filled in, so that now when we are at a certain level of height, it represents that we're able to contain ideas at a certain level. We grow up ahead above that at the age of 12 and 13, girls and boys and all that whole thing. And now symbolically it means, so looking with symbolic eyes, how growth works is that now what was a makif, what was above my ability, is now I've grown into it and I can contain it. And another level will be there for me to get to. So Zeir Anpin becomes a working term. It grows up to full maturity up to the level of Gadlut, etc., Abba, and supernal Ima. Nevertheless, it still has not attained the level of Keter. This it still lacks, for its Keter comes from Arich Anpin itself, which is the equivalent of Keter in this language, in this system. This is why Zeir Anpin must ascend now on Chag Shavuot to the exalted level of Arich Anpin. This is its maximum level of maturity, in the sense that Zeir Anpin grows up and attains the entire stature of Arich Anpin and becomes like it. We have already explained above in Pesach that it is hinted to in the Mishnah. What he said there, and what you have here in bold, is at 70, ripe old age. It goes like what a person learns. So ripe old age is Seva Tova. Seva Tova. And it goes into the story that Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, on Pesach night, we read about him, that he said, if Ben Zoma had not said that we could say Kriyat Shema at night, I would never have been able to know it. And there's a whole thing there. It's on page 12 in Brachot. So they say that when Rabbi Gamliel passed away, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became Rosh Hashiva and he was 18 years old. And that night, he grew white hairs in his beard and became Kishivim Shana. Haiti Kibin Shivim Shana. I was like a man of 70. So they say he was a reincarnation of Shmuel Navi, who passed away when he was 52. 52 and 18 is 70. I was like a man of 70 because together with Shmuel, 52, and my 18, I became 70 in honor of becoming Rosh Hashiva of the sages of the generation. So there's he became from a Zeir Anpin, an 18-year-old, he became a Zakin, Seba Tova. He reached ripe old age.
You still coming to that even at that point as you were already have Hashem.
Awesome. I don't know. I think it sounds like it makes sense, but I can't make anything up without having a source. But that's great. I think we should look it up. Last paragraph on the page. For Zeir goes through many stages of growth, and of course this is all of us. This is male, female. It's across the board. It's just talking in terms of this, and it's not mentioning Malchut, who's going through the same thing at the same time. But it's taken for granted that it's mentioning Zeir Anpin and implies that it's also Malchut, that all of us are in the same, each one have our separate lives in separate places in our lives, but part of one collective drama. And in that sense, right, we're all moving together. The final stage is it's growing up to the level of Arich, which is a male, female in one without separation, specifically to the level of the holy beard of Arich. And therefore, it's all symbolic. And therefore, just as Arich's beard is white, as it is written, the Ancient of Days did sit, his garment was as white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool, so too the beard of Zeir, when it grows up to that level, it too changes colors and becomes white. And remember the song we sang. Sometimes as an ancient sage with a white beard, and sometimes as a youth with a black beard. So that prophetic image that's in the Talmud and different places, we're being like led into a little bit of like, where's that coming from? So too the beard of Zeir, when it grows up to that level, it too changes colors and becomes white. Zeir is then called Zaken, ancient one, for it is attained old age like a man of 70 or 80, whose beard turns white. Why is this important for us? Because the Torah that we get from that level is, it just permeates into every part of our being. And it's not just a Torah that we learn anymore outside of us. It's an internal Torah, like the prophets spoke about. And when that Torah comes down, then Am Yisrael will be lifted up to another level from Zeir Anpin to Arich Anpin. So you see the ramifications of this are that the tzaddikim are talking about the maturation process of history and how Am Yisrael plays our part in it by doing these symbolic actions, by having this calendar, this whole thing. and that what we're trying to do is very serious tikkun. And yes, there's also work with technology, and there's work with business, and there's work with corporations. But the corporate work that Am Yisrael does is this very subtle level of spiritual work, which is psychological and spiritual at the same time. And it's not everybody gets it. So I'm trying to put it in a way that, like, with this you'll understand why, top of page 2, why the Holy One, blessed be he, appeared to Bnei Israel in prophetic vision at the Red Sea as a young man whose beard was black. This is the Ari speaking. To fight against the Egyptians and drown them in the Red Sea. When he gave the Torah at Sinai and Shavuot, on the other hand, he appeared to them as a zaken whose beard was snow white. This is because on the 7th day after Pesach, Zer was still in a state of katnut, immaturity. His beard was therefore seen as black. This is like a crazy way of thinking, but once you see it, then you see that there's a system here. At the giving of the Torah on Sinai, however, it grew up to the beard of Arich, whatever that means, and its beard therefore was seen as transformed into white, like a zaken wearing white, as per the verse. And it just goes on. And if you read it and give it a little bit of space, like that this is actually a serious text, and that once you begin to learn the language of this, then the inner dimension of it opens up to you, and that we become, as Klal Yisrael, more mature in our avoda, and that the Torah that we're going to receive this Shavuot is an awesome Torah because the world needs it and we need it. And so the need demands, requires something more than what we have right now. It's a shift. We need a shift, right? I'm sorry to say that today I looked at a video. I don't know about these videos of ISIS, but I allowed myself to see it. I don't recommend it. But the fact that that's happening in our world, right? And that's just one thing. There's all the other things, right? So the Torah that we need is a big Torah. We're so small, like hello, give us a chance. We're like, we need some consciousness here. We need to wake up from this Gilgal and to become great without being egotists, without being monsters, but becoming truly great. We have that potential. We're a good generation. So that's how I see all this is interconnected. It's like a real story about real people, and we ourselves are manifestations of God. But understood with everything that I've said tonight, and that we're connected to all the great souls who ever lived, and before they manifest physically, they're going to manifest inside of our hearts, inside of our souls. They're going to communicate to us ideas, and if we think we're getting these ideas on our own, we're mistaken, because Hashem is up there and He has souls that are like parent souls to us. We're little kids down here. And He wouldn't send us down here without being overseen and being looked at. And when, God forbid, anything bad happens or somebody is killed or whatever, immediately they switch into the other dimension when we have to mourn because we're losing. But don't think that there's nothingness on the other side. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of soul activity in the soul world right now. Who am I to say all this? But these are things. Living in Israel is not a joke, right? We're in the middle of this. So these ideas for me are acquired with great exertion. And therefore I give it to you not as in any way to force it on you, but just to tell you that it's coming from the most purest desire to be truthful and to be part of this incredible people that we're all part of, and that we should no longer see tragedy and calamity in our lives, in our lifetimes. We should see Hashem's hand being revealed. We should see that the miracles that are happening in nature are just initial signs of something happening, but we should be mature and see them within the little things and the good things, and practice knowing God in the good things and not have to have bad things happen. Well, how could we end this? We have a song. Could we have a song? You have koach? Please, whatever, Jonathan, okay. But please write to me an email. If you don't have my email, take my email, write to me. And if you didn't get a handout tonight, I will send you the
Are we keeping it?
yeah, whoever has one, it's yours. Read it.
Is there any way to hand out before class?
What are you kidding? We have to have technology to do that.
Sorry?
It's possible.
No,
Electronically, I could send it to anybody who says, please send me the whatever you're
you
going
have
to
to
bring.
read ahead of time. There's so much more out.
I love it. I love it.
But
But I need reminders, but yes. And I could make an email list and send it to anybody. But let's sing now, and we'll deal with the technicalities later. Please don't forget to sign in. This is such a special place. Not everywhere can you hear. Not everywhere can we. Are we allowed to speak in this open way and have this incredible embracement, being embraced? This room is a holy room and should continue to be for anybody who walks into it to feel Hashem's presence inside now. So hope we will get from Rabbi Shimon on, from Lag BaOmer on, closer and closer in ourselves, in this unification process. This is what it's about. Drawing down higher energies into our life. So,
Thank you.